Hello everyone, I'm home. I'm just puttering around the house today and I thought I'd share with you some thrifted things I found recently and how I styled them in my home and give you guys some ideas and some inspiration for this holiday season. I spend a lot of time in thrift stores, but not as much as you'd think. I'm real good at going in and just kind of scanning everything real quick and finding the good stuff and getting out of there. So I'm not in there all the time, but I found all these candle holders and wanted to show you guys because I always have the idea to put greenery around them and candles. But of course I have a lot of candlesticks, so I didn't buy any, but I was just showing you some of the pretty things that they have. You can repurpose these for candy, for gifts, and it's really easy to pick up pretty little dishes at the thrift store for practically nothing. Aunt Kathy's house had one of these, I'm sure. I think this might be good. I don't know. If it's old and it was good, it was cheap. I should have bought it. You guys tell me if you think it was good. And then, of course, this was always at Aunt Kathy's house and my Aunt Susie. They both had one of those. But like I said, I go into the thrift stores and I can spot the good stuff immediately. I spot what I want immediately, and then I get out of there. So I don't spend as much time in there as one might think. But I wanted to show you guys some of the things that I saw recently because they had some really good stuff that old Marcy passed on because I have so much of this stuff. But you can really find anything you're looking for in a thrift store. You just have to go often and you have to run through there and just have an eye for it. And look, I passed on this big beauty, but I have one I don't know what to do with. And this little guy made the cut. He was only 99 cents and he was all chalky and cheap looking. And I brought him home and dolled him up, and you'll see him later in all my vignettes. He was only 99 cents, and that's good. Then I found another Goofus glass plate. It was not really a bowl. It's more like a big plate with a little indent in it. And it had quite a bit of paint loss, but not as much as that bowl that I got recently. And wouldn't you know, I went back to Dollar Tree to get more of the red nail polish, and they didn't have any. But I was at the Mission the other day, and they had a big basket of nail polish, and I found this one. I found my son, this Frampton Comes Alive album. I had that when I was young, and my friend Shona and I played it about 500 times a day. I found this Colby Creek Country Candle Company candle. It was pine scented, and it was almost full, so I picked it up. I found this little 10-inch wooden tray it was originally from Hobby Lobby. It was a lighter color, and I stained it darker because I'm going to use it as a tray just to put candles on. No food will be on it. It was only $1. It had been $29 at Hobby Lobby and probably sold half price. Then I found this 24-inch piece of cut work. My friend Jeannie Mocklet, who was a great antique lady, and she had taught me about cranberry glass and all that. She told me never pass up any cut work. So I'm showing you here where some of the paint loss is on the plate, and it's not, the roses are pretty good, but I touched them up a little bit. And once I get all the gold on the two pieces that I have, I will show you the finished products. I'm just looking for the right color gold to put on the back of them. But Jeannie told me don't pass up on cut work ever. And this one was pristine. It was only $1. I brought it home, washed it, laid it on my table. I ironed it. It's just beautiful. And I started out a vignette with my little wooden tray that I got, and I put my candle on it that smells, it still had a lot of wax in it, and it does smell like a Christmas tree. It's just wonderful. And for 50 cents, can you imagine what that candle cost at that company? And then I started adding Santas, which I have a lot of those, and some fake greenery. I want you guys to start picking these things up when you're out thrifting. This is how you do this. You just buy a bunch of little cheap stuff and get it home, fix it up if you have to, and then style it. I put one of my new chocolate mold on there, and he looked real pretty. My little bird. I always pick up birds. And guys, I am so cheap. I get this stuff so cheap. I added another little Santa, just changed it around like I did with the chair last year to show you guys different things. The old book that I made to look like an old book out of an old postcard image. This Santa I found in the free bin, like I did the other one that I put on the basket recently. And the little Santa there. Now, these haven't been toned down with stain yet. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But they look so pretty on this little tray on my table. You can make a vignette out of just about anything, and I encourage you guys to try that. Just make some little pretty in your house that gives you a little Christmas boost. There was an old cookie cutter that I got at Vintage Relics, a candy cane. cookie cutters. My friend Rosie always had a big wooden bowl with greenery and all kinds of cookie cutters. I have copper ones and metal ones. I picked those up so cheap through the years. And just add all kinds of things to it, whatever you'd like. I had so much fun doing this for you guys. I put my little candy holder snowman from the cocoa bar last night and my little pretty Santa. He's my favorite coffee mug or Santa mug I've ever found. I've only got 3, but he's my favorite. And then just tucking different things in there. Now this little guy, he was free. He was broken off of some kind of sculpture and he's just a little head. And he had a scruffed up nose and he's got glitter all over him, which I didn't care for. And I'll show you later how I danced him up a little bit. But I stuck him in there and he's fine. He doesn't have to have his little body. He looks just like a little snowball man. And he can stay out all winter. And then I added some more, just all kinds of stuff. Now this is the Santa before I put the stain on him. You can see he's kind of dry and chalky. And this is what he looks like after the stain goes on. And then once it dries, it's not so shiny, but the stain goes down in those little indents and gives him some depth and some. And here's the little head. This is before I stain him. He's fine. He's pretty. He looks okay. But give him a little bit of stain and he's ready to go to town. I think he's just adorable. And then I stuck him in my little vignette with a little candy cane and an orange. And then I took my little snowman head and I took his little eyes and took a marker and I marked him a little bigger and his mouth a little bigger. And then I painted his nose with just an orange paint. I put it on with my finger. I didn't even use a brush. And then I stained him. Now he looks really dark here, but once he dries and you dab a little bit of it off, he just looks like he's been in the family for years and years and years. And I adore him. He'll be with me forever. And it toned down some of the glitter. I didn't mind a few little flecks showing, but I don't like that real glittery look. And then, of course, my little Santa mug. I just love him, and he looks good with the snowman. And I might use him on my cocoa bar if I do that again. And then my little book, I had a broken candy cane, so I just stuck it on top of the book. And I don't throw anything away. I keep it all. And I just did this to show you guys that it takes very little to make a pretty little vignette for Christmas. Then I have this big bowl jar. I think it's maybe a 2-quart maybe. It's about 12 inches tall. And I put all the ones that would fit, my cookie cutters in it, and it looks really pretty. And I have so many cookie cutters. I have a couple of tins full, but I think with the zinc ball jar top, it just looks cookie cutter itself, and it blends really well with the cookie cutters inside the glass jar. And then don't ever pass up little random ornaments. This little bell was in the free bin, and I just picked it up. And you can just tuck it into a little thing of greenery and put it different ways. And it looks like it's meant to be there. It doesn't have to have a bunch of companions to go on a tree. It can just lay there with a little candy cane and the little snowman head and a candle. Now this was the little head before I stained him. I just hung him on a hook to show you how he's just kind of plain. And then I like him a lot better like this. I think he looks more expensive. And there's the little Santa after I got him all stained and he dried. And as you can see, he's got a little bit more depth to him. And his little face has a little bit more character, I think. And I put him in my cabinet with all the others. And he's new to the group, but he had to go to the back because he's a little bit taller. But he looks good, and I think he's happy with his friends. And then single candle holders. I pick those up a lot because you can use them for a lot of different things. You can put ornaments on them. You can put little Christmas trees in them. The little bottle brush trees look really cute in them. I probably got this one out of the free bin. So I put my little snowman head on it. Then I found this for $3. I had one of these when I was a little girl. My mom called them Mexican painted chairs. She said they used to paint them in Mexico and sell them cheap, and people bought them as souvenirs. I had one when I was little, and someone talked me out of it, and they bought it from me, and I've wanted one ever since, and they're so expensive when I see them in the antique stores. Well, when I saw this one for $3, I had to buy it, and of course I put it down below my tree, and I decorated it with all kinds of things to show you, kind of like the tree, or the little chair that I did last year, but they have such pretty paintings on them, and I can see how they probably mass-produced these years ago, and people bought them when they were tourists. And the little finials on the top are so pretty. And I'm just so happy to have one again. I put a few little things on it to show you how you can dance it up. You can put your little gifts on it, little books. And in the free bin the other day, this ended up being 50 cents, so I went ahead and paid for it, but it was in the free bin. A big burgundy pumpkin velvet. I thought I could put that on my coffee table next year. So I buy things out of season. And then I found this. I think it's a runner, and it looks like a coverlet. It's not old. It's got a tag on it. It's like this coverlet looking scarf I found last year, but I buy those when I find them for 50 cents because they look pretty with all my things. And then I took my mercury glass compote dish and put a little candy in it. Actually, it had a lot of candy in it. Then we drove around the other day and looked at Christmas lights the other night, I guess I should say. This is a little town that's about 5 miles from us, and they do a wonderful display in their park. All the businesses go together and they each have a display, and you drive all the way through it, and it's really pretty. This is blurry because it was hard to take pictures, but this big tractor, the lights went in circles around the wheels. And this is a friend of ours who has a pumpkin stand, and he and his family, they make a beautiful truck display. And it's just pretty. All the businesses have a display, and it goes on forever, and it's really big. And beautiful. So if you could join me on Instagram, I would love it. I want to thank you guys. This was fun, just jumping on here and showing you another little idea you might take inspiration from. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart, and if you could comment down below, it would help my channel so much.